Shabab, come a bit closer, please. Leave room behind you for those who come in later. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين أبا القاسم محمد وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين. صلى الله عليك يا رسول الله. صلى الله عليك وعلى أهل بيتك المظلومين. ما خاب والله من تمسك بكم أمن من لجأ إليكم. سادتي فنفوز والله فوزا عظيما. إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. In the name of the most beneficent, the most gracious, in the name of Allah, whom we are from and to Him we shall return, may Allah greater our rewards with the martyrdom of our Imam, Al-Imam Hussein alayhi salam, on this sad occasion. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the honor of visiting His shrine in this life and gaining His blessings in the hereafter. What I wanted to speak about tonight really is continue on from last night, because we didn't really get to finish off what last night's lecture. And if you recall, last night's lecture was about responsibility. Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Last night's lecture we talked about what our responsibility revolved as Muslims in general and Muslims living in a Western country more specifically. We talked about the importance of being the right role models, not just our parents being role models, correct role models for us, right role models for us, but us as teenagers, you guys as Shabab, in every level of your life, to be role models for each other. That is probably one of the most important things. And the other thing is to remember, Shabab, the other thing to remember is that we are not here. Remember last night I mentioned an ayah which said, those who do not believe eat, drink and play like animals. Do any one of you want to be classified as animals by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? I don't think so. So therefore our roles here is more than just to eat, drink and play. Yes, there is a time for everything. There's a time for us to sit down and eat. There's a time for us to go to school. There's a time for us to come back and play Fortnite, go out and play soccer. I said Fortnite because it's a current problem that we have, yeah? It's a current issue that we are currently dealing with. Every age, every generation has a different problem to deal with. This generation, your generation, and the one just above you, even mine, has this problem. And you see kids, I see it on TV many times. I see them coming into hospitals and coming into the pharmacy a lot. It's not just about playing. It does a lot of damage. Kids staying hours on hours on hours. What do? They want to play, they want to get the victory, they want to become number one. Some of you guys want to share it on the internet so you can show off to your friends. That's not a problem. The problem lies where you spend so much time that you forget about everything else in life. As if the Quran is wanting to describe you when it says, you guys, all you do is eat and play. And for me, I don't want to be the person that the Quran describes as an animal. And I'm pretty sure nobody wants to have that title on their head. When the Quran describes somebody, it means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the person who is describing them, yeah? It means that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us an example. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, last night I said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to us in the Quran, I have created everything on this earth for you, to serve you. There is only one thing that I will ask in return. And what is that? What is it? وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسِ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. To serve. To pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Therefore, it is very important that we ensure that we enjoy this life. There is nothing in Islam that says you should not enjoy this life. There are religions out there, all they say is, no, you can't eat this, you can't do that, you can't enjoy, you can't go to school, you can't, to the end of it. It's like a jail. Islam is not like that. Remember when I said, I think a couple of nights ago, Islam gave, even women. Back in those days, women can't get an education or couldn't get an education. Islam said, no, there's no reason why you can't get an education. There's no reason why you guys can't start a business and be the best in that business. Islam doesn't stop you from that. The only thing that Islam does, it says whatever you do in your life has to be in line with the Islamic rules and values. What you do must be halal, full stop. If something is in the grey area, if something I don't know if it's halal or not, stay away from it. Or at the very least, we should get into, very important for us, because it's very easy for us to do in this day and age, is to ask our maraja'. When you become of age, you will follow a marja', right? The majority of people our age these days follow who? Sayyid Sistani. A very good website. You can ask them any question that you like. Whether it has to do with school, whether it has to do with working, with money, is this job halal? I want to do this job, I am not sure. If you don't want to ask your parents, if you don't want to ask the sheikh, very simple, email. It doesn't take very long, you'll get a reply, and then you can be satisfied that you are doing everything 100% right. Islam does not stop you from being successful. Islam encourages you to be successful. Imam Ali alayhi salam has a very beautiful saying, and I say this quite a lot. Every now and again, I tell you guys about this saying. Imam Ali alayhi salam, what does he say? He says you can be successful in both your tasks. Your task and your job towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And secondly, your job towards what? Towards this life. He says, اعمل لدنياك كأنك تعيش أبدا. He goes, work hard in this life. Do what pleases you as if you're going to live forever. There is no death hanging on top of you. Can anybody guarantee that they're going to live forever? They've been looking for the magic pill forever and ever. They've been looking for the fountain of youth forever and ever. Have they ever found it? No, they'll never find it. The Quran says if there was anybody that was going to live forever, it would be the prophets. And they are all, they've all passed away. The Imam says, work hard for this life as if you will live forever. Chase it. Do well in school, get that university degree, build that business up. There is no reason you can't come up with the next Facebook and become a billionaire. There is no reason. Put your mind to it, work hard, making sure what you do is 100% halal. And that is very, very important. We'll talk about how even a very small thing, sometimes we look at some things and we say, no, it's not a problem, it's only very small. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it will come back to bite you. وَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ حَبَّةٍ ذَرَّةٍ خَيْرًا يَرَى وَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ شَرًّا يَرَى. If you do something very good, no matter how small, dharra is like an atom, you can't even see it. Let's say it's a grain of salt. The salt that we use at home is a whole bunch of it. Yeah, you can see it. But how about when you just grab one grain and you put it aside? You have to squint really, really hard to see it, yeah? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, if you do a good deed that small, you will see the benefit in this life, and then you'll get rewarded in the next. But He also says, if you do something bad, as small as that grain of salt, you'll also see it. So Imam Ali alayhi salam says, do everything you can possibly do as if you're going to live forever, as long as it is all halal, it is all permissible, it's all allowed in Islam. But the second part of it is what? Work for your afterlife as if you're going to die when? Tomorrow. تَمُوتُ غَدًا. I know for 100%, if somebody came and said, you're going to die tomorrow, I'm going to be praying every single last second of my life. Yeah? I want to catch up on all the prayers that I've missed. I want to read as much Quran as I can. That's why you see those people on death row. You know what death row is? When somebody commits a crime and they get sentenced to death. Yeah? They're called on death row, so they're waiting to be executed. A lot of those people waiting to be executed become very religious and very pious, subhanAllah. They know they're going to die, that's it, it's finished. All of a sudden, they become very religious, and then people go, oh, look how religious he is now. Well, he had his chance. That's it. When your time is up, it's up. So we have a responsibility in this life to ensure that we are satisfying both our tasks. The task for this life and the task for the next. And not give 80% to one and 20% to one. Know that there is, at the end of time, we all have an expiry date. Once the expiry date comes up, that's it, finished, gone. When you're gone, they give you your results. You take that result and you go with you. And it's either you're going to go right to Jannah Ashab al-Yameen or left. And inshallah, we are all from those who go right and go to heaven. And of course we have our imams to bless us and to vouch for us. But even our imams say, if you don't do the work, if you don't do the hard yards, it's not good enough. Oh, but Imam Hussein here, I'm sure he'll forgive me. I'm sure he'll ask Allah to forgive me. No, it doesn't work like that. وَقُلْ اعْمَلُوا فَسَيَرَى اللَّهُ عَمَلَكُمْ وَرَسُولُهُ. Allah says, do work, do your work. Pray, fast, look after those orphans. Very, very important, guys. The orphans, those who do not have a father. If you go back and you read the wills of every single one of our imams, every single one of them, what do they say? Allah, Allah fil yatama. When they're giving their wills to the next imam, whatever you can spare. If you know that, I don't think there is one here in Australia, but if you go to Iraq and visit, and you know, mashallah, so Iraq these days, with all the terrorism and everything, there is a lot of orphans. Be kind to them. take them a present, remember them. Salat, Siyam, Quran, telling the truth is very important. I've given you the story before of the person, and I want to move on, but there was a person in the time of the Prophet ﷺ. The truth, guys, you can never underestimate how important the truth is and how much our Prophet and our Imams and the Quran reminds us to be truthful in everything. Not just telling the truth. When somebody asks us, when your father comes in the morning and says, I woke you up last night, did you pray Salat al-Subh? Yeah, no, I did that, I did. And you didn't. That's a lie that passed and you feel happy, yeah, I didn't get in trouble and I didn't pray. That's 2 wins. But that'll come back. Slowly, slowly, you start to drift away. There was a guy in the time of the Prophet ﷺ, he would commit crimes, whether it be killing, whether it be stealing, whatever you like, he would commit. He went to the Prophet, he said, Ya Rasulullah, I want to stop, I've had enough. I'm a bad person. Give me one thing, I can't stop everything, but tell me to stop one thing that would help me correct my path and become a good Muslim. What was that one thing that the Prophet ﷺ told him to stop? Don't like that. He says, you just stop lying, and everything else will start to correct itself. And he did. One day he wanted to go and steal from his friend's house. His friend came up and said, where are you going? In this night. He said, oh, I can't. I told the Prophet I would never lie again. So he didn't. He went back home. He goes, no, I just wanted to come, smell the fresh air and go back home. And he went back home. So he stopped stealing. And so on and so forth. Be very truthful. Imam Ali alayhi salam, what we want to become is become mu'mins, is become faithful, yeah? There's a level when you become Muslim, and then there's a next level when you become mu'min. In the Quran it says people went up to the Prophet and says, we are mu'mineen, we are faithful. Allah's reply was what? Don't say you are faithful, say you are Muslims. You are not, you don't have faith right now. That is the next level. We all want to achieve that level. Imam Ali alayhi salam, he says, you won't taste the sweetness of faith until you tell the truth, even if it's going to hurt you. I broke my father's phone. My father's really angry. Yeah? If I tell him it's me, I'm going to get in trouble. If I tell him I don't know, or I blame my baby brother, nothing will happen. So Imam Ali alayhi salam says, tell the truth even if it's going to hurt you. Or prefer the truth even if it's going to hurt you, and telling a lie will be benefiting you. Always tell the truth, always be truthful in your life, in every single one of your dealings throughout your life. Tell the truth, because we have a really, really big responsibility. Especially you guys as youth, and especially you guys living in a country such as Australia, in a Western atmosphere. I said yesterday, a lot of things might be haram, or might be frowned upon, or people won't let you do in Islamic countries. Here they are quite fine, they are quite normal. We have a responsibility. For example, I know friends, I had a friend, or we all, inshallah, you guys won't to go through that, but if you have a friend, and that friend you see he's starting to drink alcohol, a close friend of yours, you've been to school with him, he's a Muslim, first and foremost, this is the prerequisite. He starts to drink alcohol, what's your job? To turn your face and walk away? It might be easier to walk away. I don't have to worry about it. I don't need the headache. I might lose this friend. He's a really good friend on the inside, but he only has this one problem. He drinks. Our Imams have always taught us, it is your responsibility. The Prophet ﷺ, he says, when you see somebody doing wrong, when you see somebody doing a bad deed, فَلْيُغَيِّرْهُ بِفِعْلِهِ, lead by example. If your friends don't pray, you start to pray. If you're at school and it's time to pray and it's lunchtime and you don't want to waste your lunch, I want to keep playing, your friends want to keep playing, it's time to pray. You don't have an excuse. You're at school, yes, that's fine. But that does not excuse you from not praying, yeah? Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, if you read in the Maqtal, we'll read it on the 10th day, during the battle, during the heat of battle, they prayed their prayers. And a couple of his friends were martyred because they created a human shield in front of him, so he could do his final prayers. The importance of prayers, inshallah. We'll be talking about just how important your prayer is. You lead by example. You know, guys, it's salat. We still have half an hour. Let's go. Wudu takes 30 seconds for you guys. Sometimes it's 10 seconds for some of you. And then salat will take 3, 4, 5 minutes. At the very minimum, do salat al-dhuhr. At least it's finished. You only have one more salat when you get home. Lead by example. فَيُغَيِّرْهُ بِفِعْلِهِ. And if you can't, فَيُغَيِّرْهُ بِقَوْلِهِ. With your words. I see somebody doing something wrong, cheating, in school, in an exam. I tell him, I grab him aside, my friend, that same friend that was drinking alcohol, grab him, come, what are you doing? Do you know what this will do to you? What happens if you start to drive, get in a car, hit somebody and that person dies? What's going to happen to you, your family, your friends? فَلْيُغَيِّرْهُ بِفِعْلِهِ. First and foremost, lead by example. There's that example again that our imams want. Lead by example, first and foremost. If you can't, if it's not possible, then with your words. Grab them aside. Don't say, it's Ayab, I'm younger than him. No. You have a responsibility. It says, مَنْ رَأَى مِنْكُمْ مُنْكَرًا. So whoever you see something wrong, you have a responsibility, all of us. It can be something very small. It can be you sitting next to somebody and you see that they're doing it wrong, they're praying wrong. At-takbir al-ihram, they don't say Allahu Akbar out loud, they say it very quietly. Or something else, مثلا, they do one sajda instead of 2. Even if they're older than you and you are sure, Ammu, Zayd, whoever it is, I think you only did one sajda tarab. If you see somebody lying, same thing, don't lie, it's haram. The people who lie, Imam Hussein alayhi salam says, I heard from my grandfather, the liars will be thrown on their faces into hell on the day of judgment. Why? Because lying builds up until it becomes normal. Until you start to believe that lie. So Allah says, the Imam says, change by your words. He says, if that is not possible, if you can't change it with your words, what do? Change it in your heart. That's wrong. But what does he say? وَذَلِكَ أَضْعَفُ الْإِيمَانِ. But change it with your heart and not saying anything and not leading by example? Yes, that's the third option, but that's the worst option. That is the lowest of faith. If you really have a lot of faith, you see, that's why you see the religious people, when they see something wrong, they stand up for it straight away, because they know the responsibility. They always want, it's like that really smart student. You always want to get that A+, 100 out of 100. If you get 98, you start to complain. I used to have students like that with us. They get 96, they start to cry, they're depressed. And we used to laugh, what's wrong with you? You got 96, you got higher than me. But for them, they are used to getting that 100% all the time. That's what you should be aiming for. 100% in every single one of your subjects in Islam. Therefore, look after both. Yes, you want to play Fortnite? Not a problem. Play half an hour, play for 1 hour. When it's time for Salat, close it, even if I'm in the middle of the game. These days we all have the radio station here. We all know what time Salat is. Stop it. That's it, done. Create a timer. We weren't putting on this life just for the sole purpose of playing. I finish, my mom kicks me off the PlayStation, I go outside and play soccer. They bring me inside, I go back on the PlayStation. They take the PlayStation control off me, I grab the phone. That's not what you're built for. That's not what you're put on this earth for. Yes, have fun, that's not a problem. He said, Imam Ali alayhi salam says, work for both. Work on both sides. Make sure that you excel. Make sure that you get 100% on both. Enjoy this life, but don't forget what you are on here for. And we are here for one reason. We are being examined by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.